I've now got all the musicians' information ready in this array. Now I want to get this data set ready to be used inside the actual application. So it'll take a few things. We'll need to save it to a JSON file, but one of the things we definitely will need is an ID for each of the musicians so that we can pull it out of the data set. So let's create an ID property, and I'll pull the actual ID from the index within the array. I'll convert it to a string so that later on we could use something else, and it's most likely, when coming from a database, that it will be a string. The next thing I'll want is for this data to be inside a JSON file. Then the application can just pull it in at the very beginning and all the data will stay consistent. So let's create a JSON variable. We'll use JSON.stringify. We'll pass in the data. And then we'll also pass in 2 for the spaces. This will separate the data over multiple lines and indent it. Now, the reason for doing this is mainly because this data is used in a development format and it will be easier to read. Once we've got the JSON in the correct format, we'll need to write it to the file system. So let's require the file system module and we'll use fs.writefile. We'll write it to musicians.json. The data we'll use is JSON, and we'll provide a callback. Now this callback will be actually invoked once the file has been written, unless there's an error in the process. And if there is an error, we can just throw it in this case, because we want the whole application to stop. Now, when it's successful, let's just log out success. And we can go and have a look at the file in a minute. We'll remove our stray console log, and let's just see if this has worked. Success. Let's take a look at the new file. So we've now got 4 items written to a JSON file instead of logging out to the console. Now, I think we're going to need more than 4. So let's just head back into the actual create data file. And we've got a few numbers here which we can pull out and set inside constants. So there's the number of locations, the max number of skills, and also the total number of musicians. So let's just put those into constants at the top of our file so that they're really clear what they actually mean. So let's create total musicians, let's say 1,000. Let's create max locations equals 3. And let's create max skills equals 5. And we'll go and replace those numbers. Total musicians, max locations, max skills. Great. Now if we run this again, and we go to the map file, we should find that there are 999 indexes, which means there are 1,000 items inside our new file. And we can now pull this in to our application and use it as our randomized mock data.